And so, yes, they're doing it, and it's like the Soviet Union or Nazi Germany. There's no question. I put it more akin to Nazi Germany because of the marriage of corporate America and the government, which is fascism. I think it better.
And they're all just different flavors of command and control. But look, here's the New York Daily News. I saw this last night. I've become so conditioned that I didn't even cover it today till one of the guys said, aren't you going to cover this, and handed it to me again. A whole bunch of paragraphs down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 paragraphs down. There's a minor footnote. Oh, a student at PS 65 in Staten Island also received the vaccine without parental permission on Wednesday. So see, but the bigger issue is, Bob, parents are calling me every day when we open phones up from parents about this. They're doing this everywhere, and the schools are lying about it. I mean, how systemic is criminal lying by government now?
It is unbelievable. It is something that somebody my age can't even put into a mental or emotional context. I mean, these kind of things never went on before. The process is really the last 5 to 10, 15 years.
Well, they do it with Native Americans or foster kids they got in the 50s, and they take them in and radiate them to death when nobody could save them in their white lab coats. But now it's just everybody. And little control freak, I don't care if the parents don't want it. I'm going to do it. There's your cancer virus and mercury. Yeah.
Do you understand how dark it is? How far down the line we are? How late it is?
Bob Chapman's our guest at theinternationalforecaster.com. I'm Alex Jones. Our website's Infowars.com. Sean in New York, thanks for holding it on the air. Go ahead.
Hi, Alex. How are you?
Good.
I'm an attorney working in New York City, and I thought you would find it interesting how law schools deal with the issue of the Federal Reserve. Basically, they do not discuss it in any capacity at all. And if it's brought up, it's ridiculed, it's simply pushed under the rug.
Oh, yeah, even talking about the Federal Reserve, 10 years ago, people would act like it didn't exist.
Well, I had a serious argument with a friend of mine who is in law review at NYU. He works for the SEC, and I told him that the Federal Reserve is a private banking cartel. And he said, oh, that's absolute nonsense, that's a conspiracy, et cetera, et cetera. So I pointed him to the Federal Reserve Act, Section 16, which says the said Federal Reserve notes shall be obligations of the United States, basically meaning that every dollar in circulation is owed to the private bank. And he still, when I showed him the words of the statute, still wouldn't accept it as true.
That's because he thinks he's a member of the establishment. You guys... There are so many people making $100,000 a year that think they're God because they get invited to a regional banquet with 1,000 local minions, and they're all into sitting near power, and they're powerful, and there's no fluoride in their water, and there's no stuff in their kids' shots.
Alex, it goes even deeper than that. If you try to research the Federal Reserve on LexisNexis or Westlaw as a law student, you are denied access. You do not have access to the cases or the statutes. You can pull up law review articles on those databases, but those are very limited in scope. Basically, and there's no classes.
Well, listen, you should do an article. I was familiar with some of that. It's never been audited. You should do an article and send it to writers at Infowars.com. You can use a pen name if you want. I would love you to write a 2-3-page simple article and point out that as a law student, you're unable to do that. Bob, this is a big issue, isn't it?
It certainly is, because there's a deliberate attempt, as the gentleman is saying, to keep the information away from everybody. The scam is at the core of what these elitists are doing, not only to the United States but to the world. The Bank of England represents the same thing. It is also a private corporation.
Well, it's partners with the Fed. That goes back to 1913.
Well, the Bank of England, I think, is somewhere around 1680 or something like that.
No, but I'm saying the Bank of England is in partnership with the Federal Reserve.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Every move that they make is coordinated together and has been since its inception. And one of the reasons why is many of the original shareholders who are still shareholders in the Federal Reserve from the 12 regional banks are Europeans or European families.
And that's admitted. That's why $500 billion and then later over $1 trillion was given without strings attached, and they won't say who it was given to, just that it was given to private European brokerage firms and banks.
That's right. It's a state secret, Alex. We can't know. And I'm so happy the young man called in and said what he had to say about the accessibility of information on the Fed to law students and people within the law profession. And, of course, his comments regarding the SEC were not unexpected. All they do is chase the little guys and let the big guys get away with murder.
That's the way it is. They've gotten rid of most of the investigators with the FBI and Secret Service on financial crimes. But they put all the people they have on little bitty blue collar. Thank you, Sean. Do a report. We need writers. We need people that understand this to expose it. Just make sure you have your links and proofs so we can approve it and post it. All right, Jeff, Hannibal, Terry, Todd, and many others. Your call straight ahead for Bob Chapman.
Direct to you. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
Big news blitz coming up at the 24 After segment. And we've got two of my crew members in studio for the police state escapades they witnessed. We're taking calls right now with Bob Chapman. Jeff in Canada, thanks for holding. You're on the air.
Hey, Alex, how's it going? I have a story about swine flu I wanted to pass on and get your thoughts. A good friend of mine, last week, his wife found out she was 7 weeks pregnant, and she was in the doctor's office. He was in the waiting room with his 2-year-old daughter. He didn't know what was going on inside, and the doctor strongly advised his wife that for her protection she should get the swine flu shot, and she's pretty unaware as far as, you know, she didn't know what to do, so she took it, and within 24 hours she spotted and she lost the baby. And I just wondered if you had heard any other stories like this.
Absolutely. The United Nations has been caught in Asia, Africa, the Middle East, Central Asia, Latin America, and with Native Americans in the U.S. This is mainstream news. You can just Google UN caught sterilizing women through tetanus shot. You'll get mainstream articles out of India and Africa and Latin America. And the doctor doesn't know this. And the autoimmune response, normally before they said don't give flu shots to women, now they say it's for women. And it routinely, especially early in pregnancies, kills babies. And he needs to sue that doctor. They need to sue him. It's in the FDA literature. And because the doctors are like cult members, many of them. Now, a lot of them are awake. We have medical doctors on. We've had scores of them on the last 6 months about this. But those are normally specialists who have multiple degrees and know about this and know about autoimmune responses and toxicology. But this is just incredible. Do they know that the vaccine is the number one suspect?
Well, I mean, within 24 hours, how can it not be? And also, I mean, I don't really
Sure
know
helped the baby, didn't it? Sure helped the baby, didn't it?
I'm sorry, what?
It sure helped the baby. Baby's dead now.
Yeah, it's dead. And I thought it was pretty common knowledge not to give any type of vaccination in the first trimester.
Yeah, that was always the contraindication, was to not give it to pregnant women. But these sickos are testing. Look, they had to suspend the swine flu shot in 76 because it killed so many people, and that was later admitted by the FDA and the government. Now they just put out press releases saying it's impossible, there are no side effects, it's a conspiracy theory, a fake sheet they give you. Meanwhile, the insert says it all. If they just, this is so sickening to hear, and that's why I want to reach more people. It's why I want listeners to email their email list and tell them anybody can listen to us on the web at Infowars.com, even if an AM and FM isn't in your area. And I know, look, Ecoscience and all these other books written by the top scientists say our water, our vaccines, they're sterilizing us with them. I mean, it says in the drug inserts, I've been showing every day here, I'll dig it out, that it can sterilize you or make you lose a baby. They know this. And it's so diabolical, people can't believe it. They write books about how they're doing it to us. I'm sorry to hear that, Jeff. And they can maybe have another baby. It also tends to really destroy the fertility of women. here's what they were caught with the tetanus shot alone, where the UN in 1996 was caught. And they tried to spin it and say, oh, the manufacturer must have added this very expensive female hormone that's only released during pregnancy. The body then recognizes it along with the tetanus as a pathogen and creates an autoimmune response in the sexual organs. It a lot of times kills the woman or she has serious complications from it. And then people said, well, why did the UN have all these different manufacturers that accidentally added the hormone?